Dude, back again. Post
Back
draft.
again. Welcome everybody back to the Uncommon Man podcast. I'm your host David, and this is my guy Mike here. On today's podcast, we're just going to do a fan recap of the recent NFL draft for the Denver Broncos. We're going to go through each pick, including the undrafted free agents, and we're just going to give raw emotion. I mean, how the picks made us feel, good or bad. I mean, we're going to be raw and just blunt honest from a fan's perspective. We're not analysts. We're not scouts, anything like that. Hey, we're just fans of the Denver Broncos. So we're going to kick this one off. We're going to start with our number one pick, pick 15, Jerry Judy. Now, Mike, I know you had pre-drafts. I know you had some. I know you had some mixed emotions about this one. So
And a few
give me
reserves on
to
it.
me raw.
So, as you know, and obviously anybody could tell when we were sitting there watching the actual draft for round one,
Hmm.
both of us were on board for CeeDee Lamb at that point.
Absolutely.
So, but, I had to succumb to emotion for a little bit there. But then I sat back, started doing, a little bit more research, just taking into account exactly what all he brings to the team. Started going through, watching highlights and tape. And I got to be
Hmm.
honest, dude, I don't think there was a better option possible than Jerry Judy. I mean, if this guy stays healthy, let's not kid
Hmm.
ourselves. Like, just the guy is a living highlight reel. I mean, there's like 10 minutes of this dude just from 3 years of being in school and
Uh-huh.
absolutely dismantling defenses. Like there's one point in time. I mean, he jukes, jives, and runs away from the two corners and a safety. It's like, dude. I mean, what could you ever possibly ask for in a receiver besides that?
Right, right. Well, I think at this pick, I think we really came up as far as an offense standpoint. So I think before I mentioned, I was good either way. I didn't care if we took CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs. I wanted a number two wide receiver. Now, I had my preference, which is, Henry Ruggs or CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb because I'm an OU fan. So of course I've been watching this dude for years, just ball the fuck out. So of course, yeah, I wanted him. And the way the board was falling, we really thought that we were going to get Henry Ruggs because if you looked at all the mock drafts and how the first picks were lining up, I mean it was falling to where well everybody said that we was going to get Henry Ruggs at 15 and it was going to fall that way. Then fucking here come the Raiders and swiped them up. So then you had Jerry Judy and CeeDee Lamb still sitting on the board. And again, my preference, CeeDee Lamb because I'm an OU fan. But no, man, like I don't disagree. I mean, I think our offense got better. Just picking Jerry
Insanely
Judy.
better just off that
Yeah,
one pick.
yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he brings. I encourage everybody, if you're a Broncos fan, just go through and just watch this dude highlight reel. And it's like I say, he's been doing this for years now. I mean, it's not like he just came on the scene 1 year. They was talking about Jerry Judy being a top wide receiver draft pick last year.
Right.
So I mean, definitely a good pick here. So we're gonna go to round two, pick 46, KJ Hamler.
Yeah, I still don't get this one, dude. Like I truly
Okay.
don't. And
Okay.
it's like because I always seem to send you a random text message like fucking
Uh-huh.
10:30 at night when I'm sitting there watching videos before falling asleep.
Yeah, he do. He do.
And I mean, I think they could have got him way later.
Absolutely.
I thought taking him as the as their second pick was. I think it was a miss. I mean, most of this entire draft was a walk off home run for me.
Hmm.
And I think this one was a swing and a miss in the process of doing that. So,
Hmm.
like my biggest deal about it was they were comparing his speed to Henry Ruggs. They're saying that he ran an unofficial quote unquote at the at Penn
Uh-huh.
State Pro Day. Uh,
Like
that
a 4.2 something,
yeah,
which
like
unofficial means absolutely nothing. I
yeah,
mean, if
right.
you can't prove it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was basically equivalency of Henry Ruggs' speed. And you sit there and you watch the highlights, and it's like, dude, I know for a fact. God, I can't think of his name now. The fuck that who was the Penn quarterback? I just dropped it. Um, but anyways, yeah. So the Penn quarterback wasn't good. We all know that. Nobody's gonna argue
Hmm.
that factor.
Yeah.
Um, but like when you sit there and you watch this tape, like there was no point in time he was just absolutely taking the top end of the defense off. Like there was a few times where, they caught him, he got a couple passes wide open towards the end zone, maybe got like 10, 15-yard gap on the cornerback. But it's like, dude, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. You could watch like a 3A team, and there's going to be at least, 4 or 5 receptions for any wide receiver that's on the field that's going to have that opportunity. Like, people get burned.
Right.
It wasn't like, it wasn't like Henry Ruggs. You're sitting there watching the guy take a 5-yard dump and then run away from 3 different guys as he's taking it to the house, or Judy, where he's sitting there rolling off a route, breaking back, breaking ankles, and then taking 3 people and passing by him at a 4.45 speed or whatever it was. Which, by the way, I discredit him for. Full disclaimer, I completely shit the bed on that last podcast because apparently he was a 4.45, not a 4.5. So, that's a significant difference.
Absolutely.
So I'm a dummy for that one, but I'm glad that it was that faster aspect. You just don't really see it till you actually like witness it on tape. But yeah, there was nothing about Hamler. I was like, man, this guy's a 2nd-round pick. I completely disagree with that. But at the end of the day, I'm not Elway. I do respect Elway's decision. I know Fangio. I mean, he turned around a bottom 20 defense last season and turned him into a top 5. So who the fuck am I?
Who the fuck are we right now? We're just fans of the game. That's it.
Right.
So my initial reaction was, I don't hate the player. I just hate the pick.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, his type of skill play, which is the smaller gadget receivers, speedy receivers. You saw the run on those go in the 3rd round with like Devin Duvernay and Darnell Mooney. So, and us taking him in the 2nd round, like, no, like I was just like, what the hell are we doing taking him in the 2nd round? I honestly thought that we could have got him in the 3rd round. Now I know John Elway has said that there were talks and rumblings of people trying to get him in the 2nd round, which, I mean, during the draft, like, dude, that can be all smoke. So do I think it was a little bit of an overreach for him? Absolutely. Now, going back and watching some of his highlight, I think he provides value. I mean, I see why they got him. I mean, he's one of those players, like, you can line him up pretty much anywhere on the offense, and I mean, he's going to go to work. I mean, he catches kick returns, punt returns, jet sweeps, screen passes. I mean, and the dude does work. I have a relative who's a big OU fan. I mean, no, he's a big Ohio State fan. And I mean, he's been watching them for a very long time. And he said that, when Ohio State plays Penn State, KJ Hamler is a person that, hey, you gotta prep for him, because they use him in so many different ways to where, I mean, if you don't watch out, he can hurt you. And I mean, pairing him with Sutton, Fant, Jerry Judy, he's one of those people that if you don't watch out and you pay too much attention to the other 3, he could fuck you up. I mean, honestly, I mean, he could. I mean, he's going to provide you like with valuable yards. I mean, if you're talking about like 31, I mean, he's shifty enough to where he should be able to get open and keep that drive alive on like a 3rd and 1 or 3rd and short. So don't hate the player. I just don't like where they took him.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I feel like there was a lot more valuable picks on the board. I mean, we'd already discussed, obviously, my boy from U of H, going left tackle there. And he was still on the board. So, that was really confusing.
One thing, and another point I would like to make is I felt like we should have took Cushenberry for the 2nd pick, because waiting to the 3rd round, yes, it paid off for us, but what if it wouldn't have paid off for us? I
mean, I don't know. Like, so out of all of them, like, Cushenberry was the one that I think that we both came to a complete consensus on. I mean, you and I kind of had to generalize and figure out that, like, I had to debate with you till you finally kind of saw where I was at with Henry Ruggs, and I fell into that little train. But like the Cushenberry one, we were completely on board for. I don't feel anybody else really had him at the exact same point. And I think we got away with that one for sure. I do agree with you. But we still could have got him. I mean, I still think we would have been able to get him in the third round. I don't think there was anybody besides Dallas who was really hurting that much for a center.
Right, because theirs retired.
Right, yeah. Everybody else was pretty kind of stable at that position. We were the only ones that were questionable just because we had Patrick, whatever the hell his name
Patrick
is.
Morris.
Yeah, Morris coming in. So, but like, I don't know, man. Like you're gonna sit there and you're gonna take KJ Hamler, and that's good and well, but there was just such better position spots on the board at that time to help out. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We could have taken Josh Jones, and Josh Jones, he's not necessarily an earth mover, but I mean, the guy's still 6'6". He's a huge body.
Right.
And at left tackle, he was pretty mobile. At the Senior Bowl, he really proved exactly why he was valued on Houston. And I've been to the games. I've watched Josh Jones.
And we were both on board for Josh Jones. We both want that guy in this draft.
Right. And I just Arizona picking him up, I think personally that upped their draft status. So like otherwise they were batting kind of mediocre. I mean, their pick in the first place was fantastic. I mean, they could have taken a tackle at that point in time, but they took Isaiah Simmons. That was awesome. Both of us were excited about that. But yeah, I think they ended up getting the steal really in the third round for getting Josh Jones. I think he's going to end up being a beast. But later on, of course, then we ended up getting Cushenberry in the exact same round. I feel like we still could have got Hamler at Cushenberry or past Cushenberry if we wanted to. So,
all right. So moving on to the third round, pick 77, cornerback Michael Ojemudia, Muda, whatever, don't care. Cornerback out of Iowa.
Right.
So, initial take on this is this screamed Fangio pick. Like Fangio had his eyes on this dude. I remember watching him at the Senior Bowl, but honestly, any cornerback throughout the whole draft process that they had mocked to us was anybody other than this dude.
Right.
I mean,
yeah. It was weird.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was extremely, kind of low on the board. So really didn't know a lot about this dude. But from what I do know about him, just kind of after the draft process, just kind of learning about the guy. I mean, he's lengthy. He's a sure tackler for sure. And I mean, he puts himself in a position so he can make a play. And the dude is smart as shit. I mean, I think from his interviews, I think he has a PhD in electrical engineering or some shit like that. Or he's working on it.
He has his degree in it. So I know that he stayed his senior year so that way he could get his degree in engineering. So
he's smart as shit either way it go. And to play in a Vic Fangio defense, like you have to think, you have to be a pretty smart, savvy character. And I mean, just watching some of his tape, I mean, he's around the ball. I mean, he will give you that ball production as far as interceptions. I didn't see him whiff on a tackle at all. So that's what you want. And I mean, the guys, I think he's like 6'1" or something like that. So I mean, he's going to be a lengthy guy. I mean, he's going to push for at best your third or or possibly your third, fourth cornerback. I mean, just out the gate as a rookie.
I think there was like a general prowess, if you notice, across the board for all of our draft picks this year that I really, really was infatuated with. And that was, it was contained intensity, like
meaning
every single one of the players that they picked, like they all, once they stepped onto the field, those guys were just animals. But like, when they were in interviews, everything was like, yeah, man, everything's good. They were just real composed. Everything, like it seriously seems like Denver has gone away from the Aqib Talib, Emmanuel Sanders, Chris Harris aspect, which is, I mean, along the lines that coincides with my type of personality. But obviously, I wouldn't.
So they went away from the shit talkers to the mild manner. I'm gonna let my play speak for me.
Right? Yeah. Well, not only just the shit talkers, but like. The lack of character concerns off the field and potentially on the backfield kind of deal.
No more getting
So,
shot in the leg type shit.
or
No more
shooting
getting shot in the leg, no
leg.
gun in the club type person.
Self-induced agony.
Yeah, but hey, I still love to keep
I
to
love
leave
it too.
though.
Yeah,
Still love that guy.
absolutely.
So our second third round pick, number 83, Lloyd Cushenberry, and we kind of hit on this already. I mean, I think this was a slam dunk. Love that guy. I mean, he's going
Damn.
to. Our line is stacking up to be stupid good with this
Right.
pick. You have Dalton Rising to his left, Glasgow to his right. I mean, from what they say, this guy is the quarterback of the offensive line. I
Right.
mean, he's going to call out protection. He's going to get up there. He's going to get everybody. Hey, you watch that guy. You know, he's going to get everybody straight. And this seems like our offensive line is shaping up to be together for a really long time, which is a fucking awesome thing. Quarterbacks, and, even me playing running back. I mean, the um having a line that's put together, that knows each other, that plays well with each other, and you don't have to every single year somebody different. I mean, that helps because hey, I know how fast my guard is. So I know if he's pulling, it's not 100-yard sprint because I gotta wait on that guy to pull because
Right.
I know how fast he is.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've done that playing football throughout my life.
No, yeah, for sure. I'm not having Le'Veon Bell every single play where I'm just sitting up for holes to open up kind of deal because I don't know exactly what this dude's pace is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the other thing about Cushenberry too is the fact I really respected like just the self-awareness that he was able to sit there, take into account the fact that he wasn't the biggest dude on the face of the planet, but he still was a good offensive lineman.
Right.
So he transitioned, went out and put his best foot forward to try and become a center from going, what was he, like left tackle in high school or something? So,
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but basically his size, quote unquote, that was his biggest downfall. And he was like, well, he just basically played the ultimate underdog story. He said, fuck that. I'm going to go get good at this position so that way I can go do it. Dude's got a national championship under his belt. I mean,
I think he said that he taught himself how to snap. Yeah, YouTube. Ain't there some shit?
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's like teaching yourself karate from YouTube.
Right.
I got a black belt from YouTube.
And that's the big one. Just like in the summer going to black belt,
Uh-huh. So we're going to go with our third round pick, 95, McTelvin Agim.
I think I was the only one on board for this one.
I wasn't. I even got an argument with my brother-in-law because he tried to sell me on this pick, and he was just and I asked him, I was like, did you even want this guy? And he was like, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I just watched film on him. I was like, shut the fuck up then. Like, shut the fuck up. You didn't even want him. So honestly, there's other people that I had my eye on as far as D tackle. Now, have I came around to it? Absolutely. Go back and watching his film. He's explosive off the ball. I mean, the guy, he comes off the ball. I mean, he wreaks havoc. Now, when we play against Kansas City and we play against people like the Raiders, I mean, this guy, of course, he's going to be like the sub package guy, kind of like what's old boy we drafted last year, D tackle from Ohio State.
Draymond?
Yeah, Draymond. You know how he kind of came in sub package just to rush the passer.
Yeah.
Then as the season kind of progressed, he became better at the run.
Well, he became starting DN at a certain point in time. So
right. So I think he's going to kind of be the same, which, third down against KC, you need people getting after Patrick Mahomes. So
I am curious about the size that we have on the D line, though, because I mean, you look at all those guys. None of those are true D tackles. Like Jarrell Casey, kinda. Like mean, make an argument for that, but I mean, he's still not the biggest dude.
He's the only person over 300 pounds, I think.
Right, and he's still 6'2". I mean, he's not a tall guy. He's just big. He's just a big space and an all motor kind of deal. But like Draymond Jones, I mean, he's a DN. He's a huge guy. Like it's not fat. The guy's just a solid dude. And it's the same for McTelvin and Game. I think they might try and put a little weight on him and put him out to D tackle. But I mean, as of right now, it seems like they can only run a 3-4 with most of these guys. I mean, we still don't even have a true nose tackle besides Mike Purcell. That was one thing that didn't get addressed in here either. So
right. Well, I think a lot of what the NFL is coming to, and in particularly in our division, is I think they're sacrificing the size for the speed coming off the ball, because a lot of these guys, I mean, they'll fly off the ball, but again, how we do against the run, I think that's one of the things that he's going to have to. It's going to be a balancing act. Yeah, I'm not the biggest guy, but I mean, you still got to be able to stop the run and get out the passer. I mean, I think they'll probably put a little bit more weight on him. I'm not saying that he got to get quite over 300 pounds, but I mean, if you see him in the 290 range, that's probably as best he's going to get. Right. And then he's going to have to work on everything else, getting off of blocks and different things like that, and different pass rush moves to win.
You brought up a good point, too, just talking about the whole rushing aspect, because at least one team already had a pretty well-established running back in the Raiders. And then now I'm not giving the Chargers any credit. I thought their second-round pick was horrible. But we're going to go to the Chiefs, and this is something you and I had talked about before we even started this up today, and that was what's going to come on Sunday regarding our entire division. And since we play, all those guys twice a year, we need to kind of know your enemy, if you will. Be a little bit more apprised with our opponent. So we are going to get into just what exactly Kansas City did in the first round that both of us had our own reaction to. And we were both just not stunned, but just sitting there going, oh, shit.
Like, oh, fuck.
Right.
Like, they're already hard enough to deal with. But
he was our number one running back on the board. And when they took him, we were like, okay, well, obviously we were on track with that one.
For sure.
So.
All right. So getting to the fourth round pick, number 118, I'm gonna throw this one to you because I'm gonna light this one up. I'm gonna serve this one to you first.
I liked it.
Mine may be a little bit longer.
Go for it. Go ahead and give him the intro.
Nah, man. I'll let you bless him first.
118?
Yeah, 118, tight end, Albert O.
Mr. X-Mizzou himself?
Yeah.
I love this pick, dude.
Dude,
yeah. Are you kidding? Like, so you know what this pick did for me? This pick solidified the fact of what we as Broncos fans have been fiending for the better part of, 10 years now? Actually, more than that. I'd say before John Elway got drafted by the Colts. Because let's not kid ourselves. We have never had our own drafted quarterback that's been worth the fuck. Like, we haven't. So,
okay.
With Drew Lock, they 100% stated in this draft, no quarterbacks taken, so he's got no competition outside of an undrafted free agent, which is just going to be a camp arm, and they stacked this guy with talent, stacked him with talent.
Absolutely.
So you bring in his biggest target that he had in his senior year, and who also had just breakneck speed and a huge amount of touchdowns. And you're going to put him as a backup for Noah Fant to start out, because I'm pretty sure Pat Shurmur only runs one tight end per set unless it's blocking for the zone scheme. So, which he's okay at blocking. He's not great. But, I mean, you got two tight ends on there with 4.5 speed now. Like, you've got a dude who was the number 15 wide receiver, the highest Denver's ever picked. And then you've got KJ Hamler, who even just his presence on the field, whether or not we disagree or we agree about like where his position and his draft ranking was, the guy's he's a hazard. Like you can't just take the guy. You have to take him seriously. You can't take him lightly. So you're gonna sit here, have that. That's four guys that I've mentioned right there that are in rotation that are just completely dangerous. And you still got Patrick, why did I drop his name? Damn it. Deshaun Hamilton and Patrick, what's his name?
Tim Patrick.
God damn it. So you just look at just the sheer firepower that Denver has created on just from the wide receivers alone. Like, I don't think there's any team right now, not even post-draft, that had enough cornerbacks and safeties to be able to last a full game against these receivers if they just keep blasting the football down the field. Like it's just mortifying. And I think adding Alberto on there, especially with the connection that he already had with Drew Lock, and also the number one thing that made me happy about this pick was the fact that John Elway called Drew Lock. That right there shows the fact that he respects Drew Lock as the starting quarterback to give his input. So that tells me that even behind the scenes, Drew Lock has done what he needs to do to prove that he is the franchise quarterback for John Elway. All right, you go.
Sorry. All right. Man, fuck this pick. Okay? All right? Fuck this pick. Okay? And let me tell you why. Going into this draft and picking him up, you know how many damn tight ends we had on our fucking roster? A bunch.
4, 5.
You had Bug Howard,
Austin
Ford, Troy Fumagalli, Andrew Beck, Jake Butt, Jeff Hireman, Noah Fant.
Yeah, go ahead. Out of that 7 people you just named right there, which
hold on. Okay, you got 7 fucking tight ends. You add another one. They just cut Bug Howard yesterday, so you're down to 7. Okay, you got 7 fucking tight ends. 7. Okay, now remind you. Now Noah Fant, Jeff Hireman, and Beck.
Hey.
Now, I thought Beck was very valuable last year.
Thank you.
So I really liked Beck, and I thought, as a second tight end, he is very serviceable. Okay.
Right.
Now, just like everybody said, I don't pretend to know Pat Shermer offense, but I mean, just like everybody said, this dude runs a one tight end outside of your main guy. Who else is going to play a tight end? Practically nobody, unless Noah Fant gets hurt. Okay.
Right, but the tight ends that he has played, I mean, you look at the Giants or the Vikings, every tight end that he's put out on the field, they have to be fast.
We got one.
We got 2.
Well, okay, including this guy now. But you already had one. Okay. So again.
Yeah, but the other one sucked. Let's not kid
ourselves. So again, who else do you cut to make this be like, okay, so again, you still got a lot
of them.
You still got fucking 7 tight ends, and you went and picked up. No, hold on. You got 8 because I forgot one, Nick Van Nett, that you just signed in the offseason.
Yeah, that one was weird. That was a little confusing.
You just signed him. So again, why did you need to pick this dude up? Now, don't get me wrong. Is he an upgrade over most of these dudes? Absolutely. But how much are you really going to use this dude when you got Noah Fant? You got Noah Fant, Beck, Nick Van Nett, and who else knows who else is going to be on the fucking roster at tight end? And then you add, so you got, man, I just didn't understand it, and I don't like it. Personally, I feel like this pick could have been used on something else. I would have rather went with another cornerback, another linebacker, hell, even an offensive tackle.
You know, Tego Winogo was still available at this point in time.
Still available. Still fucking available. And you pick your 10th damn tight end?
Yeah.
And you waste a 4th round draft pick? Hey, this is a premium pick right here. In the 4th round, you're still at premium picks. You know, I mean, you're still at people that still can come in and contribute to your success as a team. Okay? So, again, I ain't like this pick. Quite frankly, I still don't like it. I ain't gonna like this pick until we get all these damn tight ends off our roster and wonder why in the hell you wasted a 4th round draft pick on somebody else that you could have used. I mean, you could have used that on somebody else personally.
I'm gonna extend an olive branch. So
yeah.
Do you think? Obviously, it was a bad pick, per your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Not mine. I'm not saying that. I still think that was an okay pick. But just look at what we had on the board. Throw that away. Let's look at the fact they took 10 picks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they started with 10 picks. They took all 10. I've never seen, really any team do that. Generally, it's like trade up, trade down. This was a very limited draft when it came to that aspect. So do you think that maybe they stayed and took this guy because of the fact that they weren't getting phone calls for trades?
Possibly. I mean, it's been said that multiple times that they wanted to trade. there wasn't many trade partners or the value wasn't there. Okay. Which, hey, I completely understand. So was this like, hey, let me take somebody? But still, I still think it was better choices, pretty much. It's just one thing that I've noticed with our team is if we're because outside of what us picking Noah Fant, we sucked at tight end, pretty much.
Horrible. Well,
We're horrible
until Beck. I mean, when we picked him up off waivers in the middle of the season, like that was a massive upgrade, dude. That changed the entire dynamics of our offense. Not saying that our coordinator was great, but I mean, Scangarello was able to really kind of fixate some weird plays for Beck with his little hybrid fullback tight end setup that he had going on. But
yeah, so but my point is when we're limited at a position, we overdraft or we oversign the fuck out of that position.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now,
until you have just an abundance of fucking people.
No, the Bears have overdrafted a tight end, sir. The Bears
I feel like we're so heavy at this position. What was the point? Now, again, on the flip side, he is better than most of them, but still, he got 8 fucking tight ends. You just signed one.
All of them, dude. Hireman's the only one that comes with a cap hit, but you look, Butt's gone. I mean, he's done shit.
Well, post June 1st, I think it's less of a cap hit if you wait till June 1st, then get rid of him.
Yeah, I can't remember. As of right now, I heard, or last I read, the X service was like 1.3 million, which, I mean, against the cap right now when we have space, fuck it. But I mean, the guy, he can't stay healthy. Neither him, Butt, or Fumagalli. I mean, that guy's just kind of been a no-show. He hasn't even really been injured. He just can't make the roster. Yeah. So I think that they're getting ready to dump like all of them. And unfortunately, I think Beck's going to end up being a casualty too. But I think I would hope that the guy makes a team just because of how much of an impact he made last year. I mean, he was one of the few shining stars that we had for an offense that was just really stale.
And don't forget, Austin Fort, before he got hurt, he showed some promise too.
Yeah, but I mean, what was that? That was preseason, wasn't it?
It was preseason. It was preseason, but he looked good. He looked good.
So did Bug Howard, but Bug Howard couldn't make the roster. I mean, he just kept getting danced around to the practice squad. So, and obviously, unfortunately, they let him go. I mean, at least he stayed halfway healthy, but yeah, he couldn't make a roster. So, all right, well, let's press on to the
to our 5th round pick, number 178, Justin Sternard, however you want to pronounce it, linebacker, Wake Forest. I don't watch Wake Forest football. I have better things to do with my time than watch Wake Forest football. Demon Deacons is not on my list.
I thought that was just LeBron's team for basketball one season.
So honestly, I really didn't know much about the guy. Going back and watching some of his film, I mean, he seems like he is an upgrade over some of our inside linebackers, honestly. Sure. He looks quick. He makes plays and he is around the football. And he looks like in the pass game, he's going to help out. Not saying he's going to be the best. Don't know that yet. But it looks like we just will not get torched by running backs and tight ends in the pass game. He's one of these people that I think that, I mean, because our linebacker room is fucking atrocious out of the top 2 people.
It's pretty bad.
Out of the top 2 people, I mean, we're fucking terrible.
The top 2 people are pretty. Well, I mean, the number 1 is a beast. I mean,
yeah, the number 1 is a beast, but I mean, the other guy,
monster.
I mean, he's just another guy. Fucking Ty Davis. So I think this guy, he can come in. I mean, I think he'll rise up the depth chart pretty quick.
So we talked about this all weekend, oddly enough, obviously just because, I mean, as with our podcast, we don't just have time to sit around and watch YouTube videos and be catching the draft all day, which is why we didn't get day 2 and day 3. But I personally, when I look at Sternad, dude, you and I both wanted Troy Dye. When a game came off the table, we had both been talking about Troy Dye still being available. There was the other guy. That's who you were bitching about was still available. Was 4th round was Troy Dye. over Alberto.
Mm-hmm.
So we still had Troy die on the table, I think. Was it? Or did die go right at the beginning of the fourth? I can't remember off the top of my head. But either way, we still
I
wanted
think he went. I think he went right at the fourth to Cincinnati.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it might have just been outside of reach, but either way, dude, Sternad to me, I think he was just the underrated version of Troy Dye. Like the intensity the guy brought when you watch his tape. I mean, but at the same time, like I said, it was just composed intensity, dude. Like I just smashed, just absolutely dismantled this running back in the backfield for a loss, and I just got up and walked back to the line.
Yeah, I mean he done it to running backs, quarterbacks. I mean, and he was a team captain on Wake Forest.
Right.
So I mean, really kudos to that guy. Going back and watching his film, what I could find on him. I mean, he looks like he's going to be a solid player.
Right.
I mean,
and I'm sorry, but I'm not concerned about torn biceps. That shit happens. That's a workout injury. That's not
shit happens.
Yeah, that's not one of those where it's like, oh Christ, every time this guy goes to tweak left, his fucking ACL tears, you know.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Torn biceps is just like getting a separated shoulder to me. It's one of those, once you heal after it, you're fucking good.
Okay. So we're gonna go to our 6th round pick, number 181, Natay Mute. Guard from Fresno State.
Love this pick. Didn't even know he was on the board.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I literally was just fucking around on combine picture or videos back right after the combine had come out, and I was just going through the defensive linemen, and you're like, bam, here's this big ass Samoan dude who put up 44 reps on the bench. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then you start watching this tape, and this motherfucker mauls people.
Dude, there is no stop until the whistle blows, and then like it's the same thing, dude. It's just like Sternad. Like the guy just levels. What was crazy was the play was 6 yards away from him, and he was still blowing guys up. Like the play wasn't over until the whistle blew. Like he was just destroying people. Like linebackers, they'd have their back turned, start walking back to the huddle, like getting prepped because the running back had just blown away from him like 15 yards, and this dude would just fucking lay him out. And it's like tweet, and all of a sudden the guy would just like stand up like the Manchurian Candidate and just fucking go right back to the line. You're like,
right.
Man, this guy's wild.
I like this pick because if this guy is our death, then fuck. I mean, I mean, he's not even going to be a starter.
Yeah, he's just hanging out for a year recovering.
And you know, with this guy, with his injury history, and I mean, there is some risk. But the good thing about it is we don't need him to play right away.
Right.
Okay. Worst case scenario, even if Dalton Reisner or Glasgow does get hurt, you have Elijah Wilkinson that can step in and fill a spot until they come back or if they're out for a whole season. So there's no immediate rush for this guy to play. So even if it takes a year or two for him to get fully healthy, because that happens with a lot of guys, is you play so much football and you constantly are getting hurt and you're getting injured and you never give yourself time to heal and repair.
Right. Yeah, it becomes degenerative at a certain point because, you know, we just take advantage of our youth. It's like, well, it hurts, but it's not that bad. And then, you know, you hit 25 and you're sitting there realizing that, you know, half of your fucking cartilage in your knee's gone because you just kept fighting through the pain.
Yeah, and like I say, this guy, I mean, there's no immediate rush for him to play. So literally the only thing he needs to be doing is still keep working out, staying strong, but just learn. Just sit back and just learn. And when the time is ready, I mean, this dude is going to be fucking... Honestly, it's one of those things like I'm okay if they move a couple pieces around to fit this dude on the offensive line.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk him going through the waiver wire like at the end of camp because I
doubt it. I highly doubt he goes.
Yeah, well, if like I said, if they go to the point of where the only way that they would do that is take him with like one of the 10 people that they're immediately transitioning over to you know fuck.
Or I can see them. Yeah, or I can see them putting them on injury reserve. So just so he knows, like, hey, this year is just going to be a medical red shirt year for you.
Right.
Because I mean, how well do you really know if his injuries are fully healed without you bringing him in for your doctors to actually look over this guy and be like, yeah, he's good to go. So I can see that happening too. Him just getting a injury reserve year.
Well, the fact he was able to do a full combine's a good start. I mean, that's a pretty good indicator.
Mm-hmm.
But like, here's the other thing too that we haven't taken into account. It's a 54-man roster here. It's no longer 52. That was part of the new league.
CBA.
Yeah, CBA. So
Okay.
so we're gonna have 54-man rosters instead of 52 now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
so he might just sneak in as one of those extra 2 names, which I absolutely would fucking take in a New York minute.
Right. Now, 7th round pick, and we're getting down to the last of them. 252, Tyree Cleveland, wide receiver from Florida. At this point, man, you're kind of just taking what falls to you. Coming out of high school, I guess he was a really high recruit as far as wide receiver. I think he's one of the best in the country. Never really lived up to any kind of hype or anything like that. But on the flip side of that, Florida doesn't have the best QB situation. I mean, there's no Tim Tebow in Florida no more. So how much of that could contribute to his lack of production? And who knows? But honestly, in the 7th round, I mean, this dude might make it. He might not make it. I mean, honestly, he looks like he's going to be a practice squad player.
At best. Yeah, I'd be, and it's nothing against the guy. I mean, the guy's got ridiculous speed when you watch his highlight film, but like, yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he's just another piece of depth. Like that's it. So I wouldn't even be surprised he doesn't make the final roster.
Yeah. So going to our last 7th round pick, number 254 of the draft. I ain't gonna try to pronounce his last name. Don't know it. Tuska.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tuska from North Dakota State.
Yeah, outside linebacker, North Dakota State. I remember watching this guy on Just Bombs Production. I remember they put out a little highlight clip of this dude, and he was just wrecking fools coming off the outside.
For what are they, like 2A or I think?
No, I want to say they're like 1AA, maybe.
Well, either way, I mean they're the champions of that. They just won the national title. And
okay, so then they're 2A. If they won a national title, then they're 2A.
So they won national title for their division. And obviously that guy was a prime contributor. I mean, there's no other way around it. So I agree with you. I just out of left fucking field did happen to watch this guy's on Just Bombs Production. Shout out to you. You guys kick ass, by the way.
Yes, sir.
So I just happened to watch his film and I was like, my God, dude, this guy, I mean, he's a beast, dude. I mean, he fucking really is.
He just wasn't tackling people. I mean, this dude was smashing fools.
Yeah,
I mean, his tackle was not like, dude, I'm tackling to hurt you. Yeah, absolutely. So this guy here, I mean, he's going to be valuable to us. I don't know how much of weight you play around with this guy and you put on him, because I can honestly see this guy putting his hand in the ground. Or even standing up and just going after people. I mean, this guy here going after Patrick Mahomes or going after Derek Carr, I mean, it's going to be valuable. So really, really liked his pick. Like I say, really didn't know much about the guy, but I mean, from the looks of it, he's going to make the team. He's a good one.
So, what was your general consensus of the Denver Broncos draft?
I think we had a solid draft. So with us being in the AFC West, you know, of course, the Kansas City Chiefs right now are the hot shit. You know, they're the big swinging dicks right now. Okay, we didn't purposely try to like, hey, we're gonna mimic their whole entire roster,
right?
To fight fire with fire. This draft here says that no, we're going to play Denver Bronco football.
Right.
And we're going to come at you. Now, the Raiders, on the other hand, they tried to draft carbon copies of the exact roster.
Dude, you were literally shit about that too.
Literally, bullshit you not. they had back-to-back picks. Kansas City picked, I think, a DB from
Safety.
La Tech, safety from La Tech. The Raiders drafted a cornerback from La
Yeah, Mike
Tech.
Robertson right after him.
Like the same fucking thing. So clearly, we know what they're trying to do. They're
Literally,
trying to
the pick afterwards, and
the
you were
pick
going
afterwards.
ballistic on this one. I was laughing
Yes,
my ass off.
like they're trying their hardest to be just like the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Which the problem is you're not going to be just like the Chiefs for one.
you don't have a
You
Pat Mahomes.
you don't have an Andy Reid either. So it's not going to happen.
Gruden sucks.
So this draft right here tells me that we are aware of the Chiefs, but we're not going to be just like you. We're going to play Denver Bronco football,
Right.
which I love because
Played
we could
three-time
have took
Super Bowl winning football.
yeah because
Been
we
to
could have
8.
took the cop out route and be like we're just going to mimic what y'all do and come at you. No, we actually put thought into this and we got people that hey we're going to play our ball. So now we're going to get into the undrafted guys. And we're just going to kind of go through those. And we're just like realistically, which one of these guys are actually going to be around for the future. Um, so Zaire Manning, wide receiver from Tarleton State. Never heard of the guy. I never even heard of the school. Tried to find film on him. Couldn't
No, I
find
couldn't either.
much.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes of highlights from their school. So
Right. So honestly, this guy he'll be lucky if he makes the roster. Honestly.
I hope he does. I mean, I like these undrafted guys because Denver. What are they now like 18 years straight of an undrafted free agent making the roster. I think the last one was
Yeah.
Malik Reed last year. So
We are very good at finding undrafted guys to
yeah,
actually
I mean that's
contribute.
our. Oh, dude, that's what I want to talk to you about. The one thing that we didn't discuss was the fact that before this draft, you and I, especially me, I went on a tirade about this team not drafting running backs because they fucking suck at it, dude.
We're going to get to that one.
We
Hold on.
fucking did.
We're going to get to that one. We're going to get to that one.
This is our season.
Kendall Hinton, wide receiver, Wake Forest. Again, I don't watch Wake Forest football, so I had no clue about this guy. Again, this guy be lucky if he makes the roster. Riley Neal, quarterback, Vanderbilt. I mean, I guess the good thing about him is he did play in the SEC, but I mean, I don't have much hope for him.
Vandy wasn't good, but they weren't.
Yeah,
horrible. That's kind of one of those meh. But I mean, he's playing against that kid that we have from Boise State. I always fucking forget his name.
Rippin.
Yeah, Rippin.
Yeah, so
that's an overblown name.
Yeah, so at best, Riley Neals is going to be a camp arm. I mean, which you need those. You need camp arms.
Absolutely.
You need people that are going to fill out that preseason play. Right. So nobody gets hurt. Now, let's get to Bellamy. Now, this guy,
boy, baby, woo!
This guy,
hell yeah,
we really like this guy.
What are you doing, Rat? Hi,
I remember watching this guy through. I think he was in the Shrine game. He didn't. I don't know if he made it to the Senior Bowl, but I know he went to the Shrine game.
Yeah,
played in it. Then really kind of kept an eye on him after that.
Yes.
Watching the film on this guy, I mean, he's quick, he's shifty, he's elusive, very good vision.
I loved him.
I'm calling it right now, Mike. He's going to take some people's jobs.
He's he's taking Freeman's job.
Freeman and Kalfani Muhammad.
Well, Muhammad isn't. That's a stretch to make the roster in the first place, especially with what they're trying to do offensively. I'm calling right now. They're going to go with nothing but speed in this draft because Royce Freeman cannot take an A gap. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that Bellamy will make it because he's still a 205-pound bowling ball, and the guy can hit in between the tackles, which is the one thing that Melvin Gordon struggles to do. He can do it, but for whatever reason, Philip Lindsay's really good at doing, even though he's only, 195?
Yeah, he's size. So Bellamy, I mean, he's going to be a guy that we really, really are going to. I think Broncos country as a whole are really going to like for years to come. Next guy, Hunter Watts. He's from my alma mater, I didn't play football. It's at UCA, but I did finish up
Damn.
my degree there at UCA. Couldn't find shit on this dude whatsoever. So that leads me to he ain't gonna make it. I mean, can't find nothing on him. So who knows?
Look, I'll give the guy props for one thing. Like, that was the only offensive tackle we took in this entire. Well, not even in the draft. So it was the only offensive tackle we acquisitioned.
Yeah.
But this just states they're going to pick up Bowles' fifth-year option. There's no question about it now. They didn't take any tackles in the draft. There was plenty of good options. So they believe in Bowles. What is your thought on Bowles? Let's just go into that real quickly. I'm just curious. We've kind of touched on it, but we haven't really gone into depth, and that's a significant impact on the team.
So, okay, so let's go back to the beginning. You took a project, right? So let's be honest. I mean, everybody knew him coming in was going to be a project,
right?
Okay. You go through coaching changes, and Bowles had to go through life changes to prepare himself to not only be a starter but to be a pro. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for him. Now, from a business standpoint, has he played good enough for you to pick up his fifth-year option? No. Will we pick up his fifth-year option? Yes, because, I mean, you could get into a sticky situation here, okay? So they're going to pick it up. Will he stay around? I'm going to say no, because I cannot justify me paying him a big contract on a season and a half of good play out of 5 years. I from a business standpoint, I can't see myself doing that. I mean, let's face it. At the end, I mean, midway through last season is when he really started to play like, okay, he's a first round tackle. Other than that, I mean, it's been kind of a shit show. I mean, when you lead the league in holding and going into your fourth season, dude, that shit that should have been cleaned up years ago. But some of it is on him for not taking the time, but you did go to coaching changes. So some of that does play a factor. So that's kind of where I stand at when it comes to Garrett Bowles. What do you feel about Garrett Bowles?
That's an interesting take, sir.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate, all right?
Okay, go ahead.
So, and this is not just to hype up the views, all right? This is legitimately my thoughts on this, so you can hate me or whatever. But I think the most valuable player is the one that is on the field. And the one thing that you can't argue about Garrett Bowles is the guy's consistent. I mean, what was his first year there? There was that concern. He got carted off the field one game, and he was back 2 games later. So we thought it was going to be season-ending injury, like an MCL tear, an ACL tear, and it ended up being just like, I can't remember what it was, some sort of minor sprain or whatever. And the guy who's been back, but he doesn't take games off. I mean, hold or not, he's there every play. And our quarterback play has not been good, dude. It's been fucking atrocious. And you're right. I mean, his stats picked up significantly halfway through the season. What was the major change in the team halfway through the season?
Quarterback.
Yes, sir, it was. So you got a guy now who won't just stand in the pocket for 6 minutes trying to find an open guy and then throw it into the stands. You got a guy who will at least make a conscientious effort to move. And even when Keenum was playing well last year, Garrett Bowles was not getting holds. When Keenum was playing like shit, Garrett Bowles was getting holds.
But that was more times than that, though.
But at the same time, I can't think of any guys along the offensive line last year that are still on the offensive line this year, besides Garrett Bowles, because that's been the only guy that you don't have to worry about showing up to camp. He's there. He's consistent. The guy's been durable, man. I mean, maybe not, like I said, not the greatest fundamentally he's still growing, but he's not just falling to the pressure and giving up on it. Like you watch like Jay Cutler or fucking Brock Osweiler or that little cunt Paxton Lynch, little
tampon.
Dude, Jesus. Actually, a giant tampon. What, 6'7" tampon.
Mm-hmm.
It's covered in period blood. But just doubt it.
Yeah.
But like as much as Bowles has gotten booed, man, that's kind of a tongue twister. Like the guy still shows up and gives 100%. He doesn't sit on the bench crying or shit like that. The guy goes back out there and plays tough. And I think that speaks a lot to his personality. I think he's worth taking the fifth year option. One, because he's consistent and stable. And two, the fact of the matter is we don't really have any replacement for him. And we might get lucky in next year's draft. I mean, there's only two ways next year's draft is going to be. We're not going to be at 15. We're either going to be in 20 or less than 10. So that's the way this team has been made in this offseason. Either Drew Lock's going to succeed or he's going to completely bomb. And we'll be looking for a top 10 draft pick, or we'll be in Super Bowl contention. So I doubt there's going to be a 15 this year.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's worth it because he's going to come a lot cheaper next year if we take the option this year to have him at least as our stability going into the fifth year instead of having to repay him for a fucking starting offensive tackle contract next year, which is going to be intense. Yeah. And we don't know where Juwan James is going to be this year. That is our major concern. We don't know where the fuck that guy's head, either mentally or physically, is going to end up being. So,
right. Yeah, I will agree. I think right now Bowles he's not the primary concern. He's more of the secondary concern. Is another year with Mike Munchak, how is he really going to progress? And him having his personal offensive line coaches, how will that help? But we're going to move this along real quick because we're about to hit an hour.
Yep.
We're going to go to the last two. Isang Bassi, cornerback from Wake Forest. Again, didn't know a whole lot about him, but from what people say, I mean, they're pretty high on this guy. A lot of people are surprised that he did fall this far. Going back, watching film on him again, he's around the ball. I mean, he's around the ball. He makes plays, and he looks like a sound tackler. And the last one, Douglas Coleman, the third. This one,
he's not the first or the second?
Nah, he ain't the first or the second. This motherfucker's the third.
The fourth is going to be fucked.
Man, who you telling?
Sorry, IV.
But yeah, Douglas Coleman, I really liked him. I watched film on him. I mean, this guy, I mean, he made plays. I mean, I think he had 8 interceptions last year.
Yikes.
Yeah, so 8 interceptions in the Big 12. I mean, that's no easy task. I mean, especially for a safety.
Yeah,
corners,
that's a tough conference.
Yeah, like corners a little bit more prevalent, but I mean for safeties, I mean this guy was around the ball, and I think he's going to fit in. Him and Isang Bassi, I think they're going to fit in very well with this defense. So I project for both of them to make the roster for sure.
Wonderful.
But this is going to wrap up today's podcast. Me and Mike do have plans going on a little bit later on this week. And we're going to kind of start from fans' perspective on looking at the division, looking at the draft, and kind of do they strike fear in our hearts or is this going to be like, they really need to get that much better over last year. So that's going to be our focus going on later on this week. We don't know if we're going to break it into more of a segment or we're going to try to just knock it out all at once. But stay tuned and appreciate you guys for listening in to us. Mike, appreciate you for jumping on, motherfucker.
Follow our Twitter. It will be posted on the page soon.
Yes, sir.
There's a fucking issue with trying to make a Twitter account earlier, so.
Yeah. Are we verified yet? Because I know a lot of people worry about if they're verified or not.
On YouTube?
No, on Twitter.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I was sitting there trying to make our profile earlier, and it kept kicking me out of the actual app. I was like, what the hell's going on here? So I don't know. Maybe they got some sort of fault going. Hey, whatever. Like, these nerds understand that I don't. I'll just keep annoying them until finally they say, yeah, approved. Well,
cool, man. Hey, man, it was good talking to you, and we'll catch y'all next time.
All right, buddy. Be easy.
All right, out.